Peace and love, you beautiful wonders of spiritual level of being. Nathan here from a spiritual level of being, and you have a spiritual level of being. And today we're going to be discussing Lilith, Eve, and Norea. Now, Lilith being, in some sources, the first woman in the Garden of Eden, Adam's first wife, being created at the same time as Adam in the same way, or in some sources being created after Adam but in the same way. Now, she would later be called the mother of all demons. The first mentioning of her comes from the Dead Sea Scrolls in Jewish sources that mention her as Lilith or Lilith's next to bastard spirits. Now, the role of Lilith being a demon or mother of demons has roots in Sumerian and Mesopotamian religions, and these are often associated with Lilin or other names deriving from night spirits and even masculine night spirits. Now, the oldest complete story of Lilith comes from the alphabet of Ben Sira, which was written in the 8th or 10th century AD. Now, in this story, Lilith rejects Adam's commands as being his servant, as she demands to be treated equal, as she says that we were both created in the same way. Now, they often argue, especially in roles of sex, where Adam wants to be on top, and in times Lilith also wants to be on top, and Adam refuses and says that Lilith is meant to serve him, since he was created first. Now, Lilith uses the ineffable name of God, which was forbidden, and flies out of the Garden of Eden, to which God sends the angels after her because Adam complains to God that this woman who he gave her has run away. So these angels chase her down to the middle of the sea, to which they threaten to drown her, and she uses God's name again and refuses to come back to the Garden of Eden, to which she accepts to be the mother of all demons. Now, this is what the text actually says. After God created Adam, who was alone, he said, "It is not good for man to be alone." He then created a woman for Adam from the earth, as he had created Adam himself, and called her Lilith. Adam and Lilith immediately began to fight. She said, "I will not lie below." And he said, "I will not lie beneath you, but only on top. For you are fit only to be in the bottom position, while I am to be the superior one." Lilith responded, "We are equal to each other inasmuch as we were both created from the earth." But they would not listen to one another. When Lilith saw this, she pronounced the ineffable name and flew into the air. Adam stood in prayer before his Creator. "Sovereign of the universe," he said, "the woman you gave me has run away." At once, the Holy One, blessed he, sent these 3 angels, Sinoi, Sansinoi, and Saman Glioth, sorry if I butchered the names, to bring her back. Said the Holy One to Adam, "If she agrees to come back, what is made is good. If not, she must permit 100 of her children to die every day." The angels left God and pursued Lilith, whom they overtook in the midst of the sea, in the mighty waters, wherein the Egyptians were destined to drown. They told her God's word, but she did not wish to return. The angel said, "We shall drown you in the sea." "Leave me," she said. "I was created only to cause sickness to infants. If the infant is male, I have dominion over him for 8 days after his birth, and if female, for 20 days." When the angels heard Lilith's words, they insisted she go back. But she swore to them by the name of the living and eternal God, "Whenever I see you, or your names, or your forms in an amulet, I will have no power over that infant. She also agreed to have 100 of her children die every day. Accordingly, every day 100 demons perish. And for the same reason, we write the angels on the amulets, angels' names on the amulets of the young children. When Lilith sees their names, she remembers her oath, and the child recovers. Now, in some stories, Lilith runs away from the Garden of Eden and in turn couples or marries with Samuel the archangel, and in some accounts this archangel was a fallen angel and even Satan. Now let's discuss Eve. Eve is considered in some sources the second woman in the Garden of Eden, and in others the first. In other sources she's also considered the mother of all life. Now, in the typical story of the Garden of Eden, Eve is tricked into eating the forbidden fruit by the serpent, and in turn she tricks her husband into eating the forbidden fruit as well, Adam, and in turn God gets angry, punishes them both, kicks them out of the Garden of Eden, and punishes Eve with painful childbirth, as is all women after her are also punished with painful childbirth. Now in turn, women can only be redeemed through submitting to their husbands, submitting to God, and be saved through giving birth. Now in Gnostic Christianity, Eve plays a much larger role. She's in turn also called Zoe, which is the Greek word for life. Now in Gnosticism, she's not just this mere servant to man, to Adam, but rather she's a divine being in her own right, coming from the light, sent by Sophia, and in some accounts even the daughter of Sophia, to wake up Adam, as the archons Yahweh, Samuel the blind idiot god, and the archons completely mess up the creation of Adam, so much so that he can't even move or open up his eyes and has no soul. So Eve in turn takes pity on Adam and raises him to life. When Adam first glimpses on Eve, opens up his eyes, he calls her the mother of all living, of all life, that she gave him life. Now Eve represents the divine feminine qualities of creation, and in the revelation of Adam, Eve reveals to Adam to where they actually come from, and that they were superior to this lesser god that created the material world, that created their material flesh, that in turn trapped their souls. So she in turn wakes Adam up to remember. Now, in this story, Adam and Eve were once two beings, in the revelation of Adam, that is. And this evil god was jealous of them as they were superior to him, so he angrily divides them into two beings in order to rule over them so that they may worship him and that he may steal their divine spark, their light. Now it's in the revelation of Adam that Eve is referred to as Zoe, and that she is referred to as the daughter of Sophia, sent as an instructor to wake Adam up, since Adam was not created properly by these chief archons that were ignorant, and thus he has no soul. So she commands Adam to get up, and because of this, Adam refers to her as the mother of the living. Now, these archons and the demiurge, they grow jealous of Eve as she resembles Sophia. She resembles the divine light, so they plan to rape Eve, which she knows this and laughs at them, and in turn she blinds them and hides into a tree and leaves behind a image version of her. So basically the flesh, as her true spirit, has gone into this tree, which become the tree of knowledge. And this is the reason why this evil god says, do not eat from this tree, otherwise you will die, as they're scared of this. But they basically defile, rape the material flesh version of Eve. And thus Eve becomes pregnant with Cain and Abel. And Seth is actually the firstborn child of Adam and Eve in this story. Now, in another Gnostic text called The Nature of the Rulers, which also has other names, this also mentions Eve being referred to as Adam as the mother of living. And in this story, Adam is tricked into thinking that Eve was created from his rib by these archons and the chief ruler, in order to make him believe that Eve is meant to be his servant and is lesser to him. Now, these archons defile the shadow of Eve that she's left behind, as she's fled into the tree of knowledge. Now these archons end up having sex with this shadow, but form it in their image, and thus making the female spiritual presence appear in the form of a serpent, which in turn tells Adam and Eve to eat from the tree in order to remember who they actually are. That this chief ruler is actually lying to them. And thus when these chief rulers, these archons and the demiurge, Samuel, in some accounts, in this account, it's Samuel, meaning blind idiot god, condemns this serpent, and because it's taken the image of him, of himself, he in turn has condemned himself, lessening his power even more. Now let's discuss Norea, the secret first daughter of Adam and Eve, from the true spirit of Eve in Gnostic traditions. Now she's considered to be so powerful that Samuel, the blind idiot god, the demiurge, Yada-Baoth, the false god, fears her. Now, in the story of the nature of the rulers, after Cain kills Abel, Adam and Eve have sex and Eve produces Seth, to which the text states with God's help. So they're still worshipping this false god as he's clouded their minds. So they're still struggling to remember who they are and they fear this god. So later again, Adam and Eve have sex again and they produce Norea, to which Eve states, "He has produced for me a virgin to help many human generations." And it also mentions here, Norea is also mentioned as the virgin whom the forces did not defile, meaning that they defiled Eve. Now, in this story, the rulers, Samuel in this case is mentioned being the blind idiot. So him and the other rulers, the material rulers, the archons, plot to flood the earth as humanity has started to rise and some of them have become enlightened and are worshipping the true God. So they fear this, so they plan to wipe out all humans and spare Noah and his family, so that way he and his generations will continue to worship him. And they also ask him to take on the ark, or to build the ark and take aboard him and his family to hide in it, and also the animals that they chose. Now, Norea approaches Noah and asks to be allowed to aboard the ark. Noah refuses. So Norea blows onto the ark, which in turn bursts into flames, forcing Noah to have to rebuild this ark. After this, the archons become fearful, the chief rulers, and the chief ruler itself, Samuel, this blind idiot god. So they plan to seduce Norea, so that way they may make her produce offspring that in turn they may steal her light and make this offspring serve them. Now, they approach Norea, to which they state that your mother also came to us, to which she angrily replies that you are princes of darkness, damn you. My mother did not have sex with you. Rather, you had sex with your own ilk. So, the shadow of Eve, not the true Eve, the material form of her, not the true spirit. So she states that she's from the realm above, the world above, meaning the realm of light, the Pleroma. Now, these chief rulers become angry with her and demand that Norea service them sexually, as did her mother, to which she cries out to a loud voice to the true God, the God of all, to rescue her, to which the true God sends an angel named Lilth, to which the archons fear and they flee. And then this angel Lilth then informs Norea of the true creation of the world and the realm above it, and the light of the Holy Spirit and of the true God. Now, because Judaism and Orthodoxy Christianity was removing the role of women, making it a male-dominated society and a male-dominated religion, we have these texts from the Gnostic Christians empowering women, as they viewed men and women as both equal. Now, they were more aligned with the teachings of Jesus, as Jesus also viewed men and women as equal. He said they were all the sons and daughters of the living Father, the sons of God. Now, the role of Lilith also has inspired some feminist groups that view Lilith as an empowering role or role model for women, challenging an egotistical God. Now, again, this all depends on one's own view. Now, with these ancient texts, we all had our own interpretations of them. So, peace and love, everyone. I love you all. Connect to all my mind and soul. Namaste.